In today's fast-paced environment, controlling access to machinery and preventing unexpected startups is more important than ever. Joining me today is Mr. Mark Staples of EUCHNER to break down how RFID-based solutions can offer a smarter and more secure way to manage safety. So, Mark, why is controlling access to machinery so critical for safety in modern industrial environments?
It's led by the automation. Manufacturing has changed dramatically. The way that we manufacture things, the processes, the automation it's unrecognisable compared to what it was historically. So we have robots and interaction. Modern machines tend to have a control system that you need to manage to a stop rather than they don't like being fully switched off. So being able to interact with the machine is really important. Okay. And being able to do that interaction or that short-term intervention safely is another key aspect.
But surely shouldn't just the engineer just be careful about what he's doing?
It goes far beyond that, because often a robot may have to go to a park position. You may need to enter the area if it's a robot and maybe reteach it. You may need to move it out of the way if it's got a jam. Things happen in manufacturing.
Right.
Unfortunately, products get dropped. Processes need to be interacted with, to be reset, to be retaught.
Okay. Now, Mark, could we look at the advantages RFID-based key systems offer over traditional tracked key interlocks? Could you give us a practical demonstration of that?
Of course I can. Sure, no problem.
So, mechanical keys, they have their place. They're a very reliable, tried and tested technology. We're not saying they're not. They are mechanical, so like any mechanical system, they're subject to wear. If you need to replace them, there's often temporary measures you need to put in place because there's a time period to get a new one made. Okay, so you have to think about those temporary safeguarding measures, putting padlocks on things, which adds more complexity or more of a barrier. And also, they are a procedural based system. So you have a key, you take a key, you transfer a key. The main key box could be some distance away in the factory. And if you just want to, I just want to open the door to straighten something up, to shut the door so I can get my machine and process running, it really does tempt people to be creative and circumnavigate the safety systems that are on there, which leads to people being injured.
Right.
Okay. So with RFID, transponder based key authorization systems, you've got a lot more flexibility. To start with, there's no mechanical wear. They're very, very reliable, and also you get a high level of security. These are uniquely coded. Okay, so in theory, there's only one of these in the world. If I lose it, I can program another one through my automation, which is done by a person that has the skills and knowledge or the specific training to do that. So it's not just anybody coming up and trying to program a key. The old key's cancelled.
Right.
Okay, so it's very robust. So that's how it enables to achieve the highest level of safety, but also a lot of flexibility. So for this as an example, this is my RFID key. I'm now using this. This is waiting for a residual hazard to come to a standstill or a robot to go to a park. My automation layer is determining what my functionality is.
Okay.
Okay, so now I can enter the cell. Green is good, so the hazard's been controlled.
Right.
But
okay.
I can also do things now, Andrew, like if I want to control the hazard, so I'm entering the cell, I'm putting this inside the cell, acknowledging that, I might want to move something out of the way, but in a safe manner. So I can bring on enabling devices, two hand control functions, maybe a teach pendant for a robot, or even to clear a jam,
Right.
okay, safely. If it's a big cell and there are areas inside the cell where potentially people might not see me, if someone were to come by and shut the door, there is no way this machine is starting because the key is still inside.
Okay.
Okay, so I am really in control of this hazard now. This is data, so my system knows where this key is. I can put unusual timeouts. It has a heart attack or an illness, collapses. You could say, well, this has been in there an unusual amount of time. Shut the system down, sound an alarm. All of these things are now possible using that safety Ethernet or safety automation system.
Right.
The key thing is, the key's on me.
Right.
So I've done what I need to do inside the cell. I shut the door. Until I put it back in, I can't start the machine. Until I give it a clear instruction, and I can automate that if I want to. These are fully configurable. I want.
Right.
You can also add things. So a lot of places now are really large, lots of different areas of the machine. So on the same network, I can introduce other functions, other interlocks that need to be in place for my machine to be in a safe situation before it runs. I'm still locked, by the way. This hasn't unlocked, but the machine's not running because this interlock, which is a guard that should be put back in place, hasn't been. And I can reset and I can restart.
Right. Excellent.
So mechanical keys, yes, they're great and they have a place. But electronic RFID keys give so much more flexibility.
So thank you, Mark. That was really good. We've seen how that can practically be used and was demonstrated. Can you show us how business can effectively integrate RFID access control into their existing safety system while ensuring compliance with key standards? And also, can we have some real-world examples as well?
Of course. So as we looked at earlier, those industrial Ethernet networks are there today. They're becoming more popular. So we can easily integrate the safety solution onto that now and have all the benefits of that flexibility. That's a given. Whether the customer is migrating towards that, we can help them on their more traditional based systems as well with introducing this technology. And to give you an example of where this has worked, there was a company where they wanted to introduce a slight adjustment to their line. In fact, it was driven by a near miss incident. And they had the safety automation in place, but they then upgraded their system by having an enable switch which connected into their safety Ethernet network on site to introduce a hold to run to clear a jam whilst in the hazardous zone.
Right.
Okay, and once that had finished, the operator then took his key, put it back in the reader, locked the door, started the process.
Right.
Now that modification, it took minutes in software. The hardware plugged in, it was already kind of future ready. So that's just one example really of where that flexibility of embracing this modern automation layer can really add value. Productivity increases, downtime reduces.
That is just a really good example of actually getting the assessment correct,
Yeah.
looking at the practical application of it,
That's right.
and then applying it
Yeah.
in situ.
If that wasn't there, they wouldn't have been able to accommodate that. But
Yeah.
it was, so they could easily do that small modification.
Okay, a lot of the things that I'm learning today, Mark, are demonstrating to me that there is a need for someone external to come in and look at a process and make sure that the application is done properly from this. So for viewers watching this at the moment thinking maybe they need to look at this, where do they start? Where do they go?
So we have a pool of experts at their disposal, you know, right from that very application type conversation around what's possible, can we do this, is this achievable, through to handholding them through the process of, well, I'm not sure about the legislation, okay, whether that knowledge through training, we can offer the training courses to the customers, or that consultative approach where they go in, our consultants go in with well, this is what we need to tackle, let's put the product to one side for a short time and let's look at what's required and what's relevant. So we can really hold the customer's hand from end to end in that process.
But to get that, to access that, haven't they got to enter into some kind of contract with you? Or
not always, no. That very early engagement is we like to understand before we can put a solution on the table.
Okay.
And to get to that point, there's often no charge.
Okay.
It's a conversation. It's a curiosity. How can we help?
Okay, so as an outsider to this, it's a bit of a no-brainer. It's not actually going to cost me anything to ask.
No, so you can approach us on by phone, email, our website, LinkedIn.
Brilliant. Okay, it sounds really, really good. Thank you, Mark. You've shed a lot of light on how RFID key systems are transforming the way we protect our machines. Upgrading from traditional methods isn't just about convenience, it's also about better security, compliance and efficiency. So if you're watching this and you'd like to find out more, as has been stated, it doesn't cost anything to ask, so why not contact Mark and the team at EUCHNER? There's a lot of experience here. Certainly from my visit today, I've learned an awful lot, and clearly it is about getting that knowledge before making the decision on what's right for you. So why not contact them? We've got a QR code that you can scan to access more. Thanks for watching. We really look forward to seeing you on the next video.